Well, hello everybody. We hope you are doing fantastically well. It is Connor, it is Gabe. We are back with the Hardline, your Sunday supplement. Let us know what is going on in the comment section below. Your second live stream of the day, you lucky, lucky sods. Make sure you slap on a like on the video, everybody. Subscribe as always, and thank you. Fantastic interaction over the weekend as well. So, Gabe, how you doing, mate? All good?
Yeah, I am, hungover.
You hungover?
Yeah, yeah.
Talk to us.
Well, I'm still hearing your commentary right now. I'm not sure what's happening. Can you not hear that?
Yes, I can. I can. Go on. It's a poor
Alright.
start to the show. Go on.
Yeah,
How you
it's a
doing? All good?
very distracting. No, I'm alright. I went to the Bay FC, friendly series because what happens is the NWSL, they take a break.
Yeah.
There's the Women's Euros, there's all sorts of international competitions, and so they play a couple friendlies to get back in shape, I guess, and, so I went to that. And then they had this like extravaganza for us season ticket holders. It's really weird as well because they roll out the players who have just played, even in a friendly, to just play 90 minutes, and they assign them with certain staff members, and they come about and they meet you and things. And the last thing these players want to do is be here. Also, I'm a 40-year-old man with my like 40-plus-year-old friends. Like, it's not we're not really the demographic that they should be going around having to meet. So every time they walked up to us, I was like, "Oh, it's really nice to introduce yourself. There are some kids over there. I'm sure you'd love to meet." Just because it's weird, isn't it? It's like that they're younger than my kid sister. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, yeah. So anyway, it was all right. And then I went to a Mexican restaurant, had about 4 margaritas on top of the ciders I had earlier. So I'm a bit hungover today. How are you? How are
I'm
you
good.
doing, Connor?
Yeah, I'm rough. I'm rough, guys. I'll be honest. I think the screaming
The
of the
Oasis
Oasis,
crud. That's what you got. The
the,
Oasis
the
crud.
the Oasis gig, and then profusely drinking afterwards and before, and then just literally not just this continuous Oasis for the past week has just killed me off, really. So, yeah, mate.
Millennial dad rock is in your ears.
I'm in need of a rest, to be honest with you. But yeah, what have you made of all the Oasis saga? Anyway, it's taken the UK and Europe, I'd say, maybe a bit of America by storm in a sense.
I wouldn't say it's taken America by storm. I think the UK and Europe is where they really slap.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Listen, everyone knows my opinion on this if you watch the show. I don't think Oasis is that great. I'm not a big Oasis fan. I understand why you lot like them um, from a nostalgia point of view, but just hearing these songs again reminds me how old I'm getting. So it's just sort of like also, and I have to be honest, it's not even Oasis's fault. When I was at university, there was always some jackass with a guitar who came in to play Wonderwall, and I just
It-
wanted to break the guitar over their head. So, to
the
be
thing,
honest, I think it sort of ruined it for me.
the thing is, they don't even like Wonderwall. I've watched documentaries where Liam Van Noel
No
don't
band
like it.
likes its biggest hit. You know what I mean? But like, yeah, because the song sucks. I hate it so
It's
much.
very Mr. Brightside vibe in the UK, where it comes on pretty much at the end of every single night, and it could just kind of gets a bit arduous at points. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Although when I was living in Leeds, I remember there was this one club called Hi-Fi that kept playing every night. They would play at least
hi-fi.
once. Yeah, they would play at least once. They'd play "This Charming Man" by the Smiths, which I quite like the Smiths. But after a while, I was like, this is a weird song to play at a club, and it's just I don't want to hear it every time I'm here.
Day Day says, "I bet you like Green Day." Is that true? Is that
No,
confirmation? No.
no.
Okay. Yeah, he's a unique. Gabe's music choice is quite unique, to be fair. It's quite indie, I'd say. Hi, Connor and Gabe. Loving the content. A bit of different comment, but I've just been approved to move into a council house. And wanted to tell you guys, well done, mate. That's
Congratulations.
brilliant news. That is brilliant
Yeah.
news, mate. So congratulations. That's I think the first comment we've ever had referring to someone moving house. And do you know what? Sometimes people are just excited. They want to get it out. So well done, Tom. Well done getting on the ladder, my man. That's good. That's good news. And
Yeah, that's great. Good for you.
Nathan says, here we go. Sunderland agree for Paixao, confirmed 30 million euros agreed in last moments. Yeah, Nathan, stop trying to take the mic. We're not going on the Sunderland versus Leeds thing. Just not today. Harry says I went to Wagamama's today. I also went to Wagamama's today. There you go.
I had the worst food poisoning of my life at Wagamama's in Manchester. Ever.
That's
Ever.
we,
I've never
yeah.
been that ill. I ended up in an NHS hospital.
Did we?
It
We
was
didn't go to Wagamama's, did we? When
no,
you
I
were
wouldn't have gone to Wagamama's, especially
no.
in Manchester. We went to
Gabe,
some really large burger salon. It was very strange because there were so many people in there. I was like, is this a restaurant or a
Where,
holding pen?
where, where did we go? Oh, what's it called?
I
Yeah,
think we stuck close to the train. I
we
think that's
did.
probably why.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, I'll
Sure.
have to. Rihanna will
We'll do
say
some
to me.
fine dining next time.
Yeah, we will, 100%. Okay, Gabe, are you wearing it? I don't even know what that is, Gabe. Do you know what that is? A foulard? Do you know what that is?
No,
Okay, okay, you just not answering that. Okay,
I don't know what that is. I can't.
cravat, something like that. Yeah, okay, we're going down just a food review here. Okay, let's get into
The
it,
one
mate.
food chef fan channel.
Talk to me about Leeds United versus Manchester United, 0-0, and you getting up at 6 a.m. Guys, get your comments in as well. And shout out to Paul as well, who said, finally catching a live, who's been a member now for 18 months. Shout out to you, Paul.
It was really nice to see Leeds United on a pitch again. That was nice.
Yeah, it was
And
good.
it was good to see a run out for the boys, get some fitness in.
Mm-hmm.
I thoroughly, and I've said this for years, do not weigh preseason at all. For me, it's a glorified. It is a friendly, obviously, but it's just a friendly to get your guys match fit, especially if these are some people you're trying to ship out of town. You want them to be able to like leave at fitness, or maybe you're even putting some toys in the shop window for some lower division clubs to look at. But the reality is, I take absolutely nothing from the game outside of it was nice to see Leeds again. It's good to see some fitness. You know what? Actually, no, I won't be so cynical. I will say one thing I actually liked. You ready? Here's the one thing I was actually charmed by. Willie Nanto looked good, and he looked like he had a fire lit under him a little bit to impress, because I think maybe there's some recognition here that if I don't get this season right, my career may go in a trajectory that I don't want to go, because he wasn't all that exceptional in the championship. If you just really look at it, doesn't mean he's not an exceptional player, but I think now the proof has to start coming to the forefront here. And now that there's going to be more competition this side, you would assume, given some of the transfer market activity, the YEP came out, talked about how you save the big money for the big positions. It seems what the club's trying to do. Any attacking position in the Premier League is a prime position for new signings, right? So, the only thing I'm taking is like, we got to see some players that we haven't seen in a while, and Willie Nanto looks a little bit motivated, but we'll see. That's all. That's all I take. And the whole reason I was annoyed wasn't just 6 a.m., but I knew there was going to be a week because there's no football. There's going to be a week of us breaking down this friendly as if it tells us something tactically about Farco or his preference for lineup or how someone's going to look at a particular system, and it doesn't mean a thing. You hear that, Oscar? Doesn't mean a thing.
Well, just to take the cynicism out a little bit, let's touch on some of the positives throughout that game. And look, if we just
I gave a positive. I did a good job.
If we're just judging it on that game, what I thought was quite interesting to start off with, Gabe, was the 4-3-3. Me and you haven't spoken about that a lot. It was interesting us starting in that formation. I've mentioned before, I think that would probably get the best out of someone like Longstaff. What were your opinions on that? Do you think it's good that we're kind of fluid a little bit in the formation? Do you think that there'll be any? I mean, that can't be completely useless starting in a 4-3-3. There must be some thought behind it, surely.
Maybe, but we saw a three at the back and two wing backs in preseason from Farca before. We didn't see it during the season at all. So it maybe, and if it is awesome, I just think at preseason it's like not the place to see that. I think what I like to see the most though is that there's especially with Stock coming in. Obviously, we didn't see him, but this stable of midfielders is going to be really good, and it's going to be week in week out competition to get in a starting role in this team, regardless of the formation we play. And I have to tell you, that's good. That is good. That's good for a team, because if you just settle on rigidity and status quo, you want a culture of people pushing you forward, especially for a recently promoted side. I love it. And the stable looks very good. With Stock coming in, I'm sure we'll pivot to this conversation. I tweeted earlier that I'd run around my neighborhood half naked if we signed Anton Stock. And so I'm probably going to have to make good on that. So I will be running around the block here in San Jose with my shirt off at some point.
Strange that everyone's forgotten about that, and you just decided to bring that up again, Gabe.
No, because I'm proud to do it. We brought in Anton Stock. I love this player. I'm typically a center half type guy. Anton Stock might be, without even seeing him play for Leeds United once yet, he might be my favorite player in the side. I'm such an admirer of his as a player. I think he's so good. And he does, like, when you have that 6'4" profile as a central midfielder. A lot of times people will accuse you of being not athletic. He has good burst speed. He's not ever going to beat any, doesn't have like elite line to line speed, but his quick burst speed is good. His dexterity is really good, especially for a guy his size. He's just quicker and more athletic than you think.
Great word.
No, thank you. He's quicker and more athletic than you'd think for a guy his size. And there's a reason people are calling him and they have been calling him for years now, the German Declan Rice. Because he is excellent as a midfielder. He's not just this big destroyer. He reads the game better than most players. He's athletic enough, but he makes up for maybe his lack of top end elite speed with that positioning sense. On the tackle, he's absolutely brilliant. His sense of timing, his sense of space is excellent. The lines he takes are wonderful. And then with the ball, this guy runs with the ball through the midfield better than anybody we have in the midfield right now. And that may sound weird, but it's true. He could be a progressive midfielder as well. You're not going to deploy him high above the pitch. He's too good on the other side. But he really is an elite midfield signing. And for us to get him below 20 million quid, I think that's what has my head is gone on that. So yeah, it would have been nice to have Paixao, and maybe we do get him.
Maybe.
But let's not get depressed, because this is better than any midfield signing we've made in recent history. This guy blows Tyler Adams out of the water. This guy blows Ilya Gruev out of the water. I've already said I think he blows Ethan Ampadu out of the water. He is just Mark Rocca out of the water. I'm sorry, Connor.
You're missing a key. You're missing a key one there. There's one which stands out.
Ao Tanaka. He's better at more things than Ao Tanaka is.
Okay.
But when you have a guy like Stock, you can play a guy like Tanaka without worrying about any defensive frailty. And again, I think Tanaka puts more graft in on the defensive side. I think we're just looking at him. We're like, oh, he's slight. He's not defensive. No, he does a good job. But Anton Stock is an unbelievable signing for that kind of money. Unbelievable signing for that kind of money. It's ridiculous.
How would you look at, from and obviously it'll depend. What we know with Farker is now he's got if you do get Stack in, and you've got, Longstaff in there, who's very different to what we have. Stack, who's obviously very different to Longstaff. Ampadu and Tanaka are completely different as well in terms of styles of player. What would you like to see, continuously throughout the season, or would you like? 'Cause obviously, success comes through a little bit of consistency in the midfield as well. And we know with Farker, it's probably going to stick to a 4-2-3-1. So, from your perspective, what would you like us to do for the majority of the season, or does it depend on the opponent for you?
What I would like to see the midfield played in two ways. The first way is against teams that we think we can outpossess, or at least be in contention for possession stats, and who maybe outside of that top 7 or 8 in the Premier League. So the best of the rest. I would like to see us line up with a 4-3-3 and to see us with Longstaff, Stock, and Tanaka. And against those teams that are going to try to bully us a little bit or just scrap for a result, that's what I want to see. However, against those teams that are better, those top 7 teams where you're not going to outpossess, I would rather see a physical, more conservative midfield that can play for draws and can play for a NAB result. And that's what I would like to see in Ampadu, with a Stock, with a Longstaff. That's a difficult midfield to play against, really. There's not going to be a lot of space in there. There's going to be a lot of endeavor. There's good possession attribution as well.
But Tanaka was excellent yesterday. Really good.
Yeah, but I would rather see Tanaka play against teams that are.
Yeah, we've said that.
You know what I mean? I would rather see him split time with Ampadu, because to be honest, if you're playing a true 6, it's going to be Stock. Yeah. And Longstaff, I think is a better advanced midfielder.
I guess in a 3 you could go, if you were being ultra defensive, you could go 2 6s. You could do Ampadu and Stack, and then just a little.
And there will be matches for that. If you play Arsenal, you're going to want to play 2 6s, because again, it's not like neither of those guys could do anything with the ball. Stock is, I think, better with the ball than Ampadu, but Ampadu's not poor with the ball.
No, he's not.
So against like an Arsenal, against Manchester City, against Liverpool, I think you're going to go for that bigger, more athletic, scrappier midfield. and try to nab a result, to try to basically punch these teams in the mouth. But against teams like Burnley, against teams like Fulham, against teams like West Ham, against teams like Sunderland, I think you could see a lot of Ao Tanaka. And I would imagine you would see, if something's not working, a 60th minute sub and go a little bit more conservative. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But by having Longstaff, who is a two-way player, Stock, who's a two-way player, both of those guys raise the level and raise the floor on that midfield. You could afford to give Ao Tanaka a little bit more leeway. This may be moot anyway if we play a 4-2-3-1, because then we'll need a traditional 10, and I don't think that Ao Tanaka is best suited for that. But in a 4-3-3, I think Tanaka is really well suited. And of course, you know that maybe we line up defensively as a 4-2-3-1 and offensively as a 4-3-3 or 4-1-4-1. You don't know, right? And
I'm not sure we get a 10. I'm not sure we do.
We might not. I mean, but that's just what we've heard in all the reports, right?
Yeah,
so only going off what we've heard. But really, I think that having the real questions I have, and it's going to sound like I'm picking on the guy because it's just relative. It's relative competition. My real concern is that Ethan Ampadu's played more matches at center half than he has at central midfield. He did that, and that was actually true this last season as well. It wasn't true the first season in the championship, but this last season he played more matches at center half. In Serie A, he played more matches at center half. His last in the Premier League, unfair to even really reference, but he played more matches at center half. You sort of wonder, is he being sacrificed into center half, not just because of injury, but because he doesn't have the kind of speed you'd need to play that position in the central midfield at an elite level? I don't know. That's the big question I have with him. It's not intelligence. I think what he does really well, and the reason why Farke was bending over backwards to keep him in the team versus taking him out of the team, I think his football IQ is incredibly high, and that's really important. In the Premier League, it's a difficult jump, and you know what I'm like. I have to have like a lot of data points to reference. I didn't see the midfield drop off too much when Ampadu came out of it in the championship. It was important to keep him in the team, but Farke decided to take him out of the midfield, put him in the center back spot rather than keep a center back that may be coming back to the Premier League now. So it doesn't prove anything, but what it does is it raises questions about the best suitability for Ampadu. So I think if he's going to be successful in the Premier League with Leeds United, I think it's going to be against those teams where actually we play a higher caliber of opponent who maybe we're not going to have as much as the ball. When we do, we need to keep it. And when we're out of possession, we need to be able to kick somebody in the teeth a little bit. And there's going to be plenty of matches for that. We're talking like we could see a 50-50 split between Tanaka in the games where we're playing for a win, and Ampadu where we're playing for a result.
I think it's going to be between Ampadu and Tanaka who gets taken out. I think he's going to favour Longstaff. I think he's going to favour Stack, and I could see as potentially, like you just said, Gabe. I think we could go to a 2. We might not have a 10 in there. We might go for an 8, but I think it is going to be between Tanaka and Ampadu a lot of the time, and it depends on the opponents that we're going up against. I think Longstaff and I think Stack are going to be in there quite often, to be honest with you, which is interesting.
Do you agree with me? Speaking of the center half position, though, do you agree with me now that we think that, not that you ever disagreed, but I've been kind of floating this for a while, that I think Pascal's being shopped?
Yes, sent. Yeah. I think he's definitely one of which I'd look at and think. The interesting thing is as well, Gabe, and it's only one game, but obviously Yakubiol, who I thought was quite impressive yesterday as well. He's obviously out of that first game as well. So obviously Rodon would potentially be partnered with Bornau. We don't want to see Ampadu at the back, do we? So that first game of the season, which is quite important because then we've got Newcastle and Arsenal, 2 really tough games. Everton's probably the most winnable game in that 3. Obviously, Biol isn't going to be available for, so it does. You're not gonna base a sale on your first game, but it's interesting how that dynamic at the back will shape up.
Apparently, and I don't know how true this is, but we've been linked to a move for Diego Carlos as well, who's another center half, very experienced, Premier League experience, and for not a tiny fee. I think it was it's not a big fee, but it's around 12-13 million. You have to think if they're sniffing around other center halves, having brought in 2 already with Joe Rodon still there. You have to wonder, are they looking at selling Pascal Stark, who I think honestly would probably fetch a good value and be really good in another league as well. I'm not saying he wouldn't be good in the Premier League. I have my reservations about him. I've voiced those many times. Still think he was excellent in the championship. And I think in a less physical league, whether it be Ligue 1, whether it be the Bundesliga, all the Bundesliga could be a little bit physical as well. I think he's a perfect Ligue 1 player. And I think there are a number of clubs in that top 5 in Ligue 1.
I think he might thrive with less games as well. I think in the Premier League,
Yeah,
at least, if we've got less games to focus
and that's
on.
the thing too. He's fragile.
Yeah.
He gets hurt every year, So, and it's one of those guys you have to think of where you get the most value for the sale. You'd probably get 10, maybe 15 for Pascal Stroke, right? So, a number of those put together. Let's say you add another 3, 4 for Harrison, which would be pure profit because for the amount of time he's been with Leeds United now, you don't really have to sell him for much. I do think Brendan Aronson probably goes. I think somebody in the midfield has to go. It's probably going to be Ilya Gruev. But also because that's the small fee we paid for him, right? So flipping him would be really good. I think Joseph will go probably for around 12, 13 million.
Yeah, I think he's going to go. I think he's going to go. I'd be happy with him leaving on loan, but we all have to be accountants nowadays, and it's PSR, isn't it?
Oh, but when you actually add it all up, right? And I went back and checked the reporting, so I know there's a lot of like you have to factor in losses and things, but the YEP said the transfer budget, like the amount spent on new players, would be 150 million. Leeds Live quoted 120, and the Times through the Athletic quoted close to 150. Now, maybe that means when you count player sales, right? But like, where that number comes from that consistently between 120 to 150 is pretty telling. So I think it's safe to operate under the assumption that we could probably see that kind of money spent, whether it factors in outgoings or not.
Yeah, I think it's,
and when I'm looking,
it's probably got to, hasn't it? It's probably got to factor
maybe,
in
but it has to just because of team size anyway. You can't have that many players on the books anyhow. You'll see Joffe go, you'll see Greenwood go. You'll see these players go. At the end of the day, even if you don't sell a guy like Piru, you'd still expect around 50 million in sales in total, given all the players we have to leave out.
Did the whole scenario, and I know you're not taking a lot of preseason into account, and we'll get into the comments after this. Everyone's keep streaming them in, but what did you make of the inclusion of Harrison starting? What did you make of the performance? What did you make of Farke's comments afterwards with him saying obviously that he's got a chance to, prove himself in preseason?
I think there's two things there. There's him in the starting lineup and the comments, right? Him in the starting lineups, I put about as much stock in that as I put Farke starting Leo Yelda at center midfield, which he did during a preseason match. So I don't care. I think that you have to say that every player is, if they're on your team sheet now, unless they're clearly being sold and there's been some things in the background happening, that it doesn't really benefit you a whole lot to say, hey, he came in, there are questions about his attitude, he's really going to have to win us. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And we know Farke's a talker. Would it be that surprising for Farke to just make some shit up and say it? You know what I mean? Like, I don't think so. Oh, what's he going to say? And Farke can't just say one sentence. He can't just be like, "Hey, we'll see."
He can't, can he? He can't.
Be like, "Hey, just we'll see. We'll give him the off season. We'll see how he does." No. So I know it really pissed you off, but I didn't care. Like, if I see Jack Harrison starting in the Premier League, then I'm going to have all kinds of opinions.
Yeah, I think like you said, it's not putting too much. It's not putting too much tax on it, really. I think you're right, and I think I tried to make that as clear as I could afterwards. But was I frustrated by it? Yeah, I was a little bit. I mean, just on the fact that
you get frustrated at the mention of his name.
But in preseason, I just want to see a guy who's got 800 minutes last season. I want to see him be given his chance. So let's see what he's about in preseason. Is he? Is Ramazani going to be able to step up against better caliber opposition? Let's have a look. Let's just have a look, because he's going to be more involved than Jack Harrison. That was my minor frustration with it, to be honest with you. It's not a case of like, oh, Jack starting, I'm now putting a complete onus in Daniel Farke, starting him and doing this, that, and the other. I also think there's room for negotiation there. I don't know how clever Farke's been with that, but maybe there's just, he's saying stuff like, we'll see how he does. We'll see how he does. And maybe with Jack Harrison just getting flitterings here and there of appearances, you may get a club coming in and going, look, can we take him off your hands for a season on loan or something like that? But yeah,
he didn't really quit himself well at Everton, did he? It was like 34 matches plus with 1 goal contribution.
Oh, dude, it's
as
even
an
just.
attacking player.
I'm just even looking at yesterday, and I'm just like, there is just no development from this guy who's nearly played 5 seasons in the Premier League. It's crazy stuff. It's crazy. Um, okay, so a lot of people are asking about, and Gabe's just mentioned it as well, and we'll get back onto what we're talking about in just a second. But as you can see in the title, when it comes to Igor Paixao, so the latest news around him is apparently he has agreed terms with Marseille. But according to several reports in the last 5 or 6 hours now, Dutch publications as well, there is no deal yet with Feyenoord. And if an agreement isn't reached today, this is by Sebastian Vidal, it's Sasha Tavaleri, and it's a couple of Dutch journalists as well who are all sort of, saying the same thing today. Marseille could pull out of the race, and they've got other targets. Leeds United are then still hopeful and ready to make a move. So
They haven't got great money over there, and I know people were talking
I was surprised,
I
dude.
was one of them talking
I
about.
was surprised when I saw 35 million euros from Marseille after the early reports that said they were struggling for it. I was really surprised to say
Well,
that
you
that
see how they're
figure's
trying
been
to bring
banded.
Mbeumo in as well. I know it's a
Yeah,
competing
yeah,
side of the pitch, but it the money matters. They're bringing him on a loan with an obligation to buy, so you can tell they're concerned about financial fair play as well, and just
mm,
like they clearly just don't have the money to shell out a ton on the front end of the season. And they're banking for next year. Um, I mean, we'll see, right?
yeah.
But for I did see like a flip in the conversation that was like, well, we don't need him anyway. And why go to a farmers league? And first of all, Ligue 1 is not a farmers league.
Yeah.
That's number one. Number two, Marseille is the second best team in that league right now. They'll be playing Champions League. It's a beautiful city, a lot of really talented players there. I mean, there are reasons to go, right? And De Zerbi's the manager. It's a club, founded in 1899.
Hey,
I mean, there's
my granddad lives there. Nice city. Very nice
yeah, it
city.
is, it
Yeah.
is. Count of Monte Cristo took place there. No, I'm just kidding. There's a lot of reasons you'd go to a Marseille, right? So, and there's just a lot lesser risk than going to potentially, a club just being promoted. That
it,
being said,
it would
there
be
have been
lovely, Gabriel,
whispers.
wouldn't it? It would be
It would
lovely.
be amazing. There have been whispers though about a 30% sell-on clause.
I've seen this.
And I can guarantee. Well, I can't guarantee because I don't know. I'm not hanging out here with Parag. He's not in the back smoking a cigar. I just know that we probably wouldn't be very interested in that.
Yeah, yeah. It's not strong from a negotiation standpoint, is it?
No.
So yeah, as I said, there's a guy called Mikos Guka as well, who's a pretty decent journalist out in the Netherlands, and he said Marseille will meet with Feyenoord officials later today in an attempt to secure Igor Paixao. Paixao has agreed to join Marseille, but the clubs have not yet reached an agreement. If it doesn't happen today, Marseille will move on. So wait and see on that one. But overall, we'll just get into a few of the comments. Anyway, keep getting yours in the section below, everybody. Matthew Smith says, think we could get 10 million for Joseph and another 10 combined with selling Joffy, Greenwood, and Casillas cashing in on JB. That is the sort of movement we need,
Yeah.
Matthew, I think. And Gabe, I think maybe throw a Gruev in there, throw a Harrison in there, throw a few others in there, and you might have a little bit of PSR wiggle room there.
You know who I think stays, though, the more and more I think about it? I think Aronson should go, but he'll probably stay because, listen, we're not going to get back the money we paid for him. From all accounts, he's good in the changing room, and he's a high-energy guy for training. Do I think he'll play a major role? No. Do I think he'll get garbage minutes and cup minutes? Yeah. And do I think that's necessarily bad for team continuity? No. So as long as I don't see Brendan Aronson lining up as the starting 10 this season, I'll be pretty pleased.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Let's have a look. Kershaw has said that you also have to remember with Ampadu, he had 3 big injuries in the last 2 years.
He has. And you wonder how much that's taken off the old legs, but we'll see. I remain a believer in Ethan Ampadu. If anybody's going to, he's one of those guys who I think can perform above his limitations because of A, his intelligence, and B, his just his commitment and his professionalism. He's a leader in the side. We're certainly not going to see him phase out of the team. That's not going to happen. But the idea of him now being an instant lock starter in every match in the Premier League, I just don't think is realistic anymore. And it's up to him to prove me wrong. And if he does, nobody will be happier than I. But I think realistically, if you bring in a Longstaff who is just a better midfielder, if you granted different utilities, but in my opinion, a better midfielder for the Premier League, you bring in an Anton Stock, better in every way. The opportunities And you have to have someone sort of creative in that midfield. And Tanaka certainly fits that bill. And everybody, including yours truly, Connor Sick McGilligan over there, has also said that Tanaka can make that step up. Ethan Ampadu's going to have to show us stuff he hasn't shown us yet. And he could. And I hope he does. I would love to have a selection problem every single week. That would be amazing if the squad just didn't pick itself.
Goalkeeper wise as well, Lucas Petty. It feels like we're no closer on this when it comes to anything really, but apparently there's stuff going on in the background. There's Lucas.
I'm really sad about the goalkeeper position. You know why?
So obviously it looks like he's going to Napoli, doesn't it? Nick Pope made an absolute howler yesterday, which was quite funny against Celtic. But looks like that one's kind of quashed as well. Trafford apparently could be going to Manchester City as well, which is an interesting development there.
That is interesting.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, Lucas Perry, there's obviously Dominic Livakovic. We spoke about him as well. There's Robin Zentner. So I guess with the goalkeeper, Gabe, look, it's a position I would have wanted to get it sewn up really quickly just because
you wanted the goalkeeper first.
Yeah. But I get it. I understand that. Look, when it comes to the goalkeeper, you're probably looking at below 15, 20 million for a keeper. When you're working on a striker, when you're working on a left winger, some central midfielders, you're probably going to pay a little bit more money. But that's one that would be really nice to get sewn up quickly. I mean, just in terms of the recruitment, are you still thinking that, it's a 10, it's fullback cover?
It may not be a 10, as you said. It may just be a really good, creative attacking 8, to give us more versatility, who can also play a 10 in a 4-2-3-1.
Should we talk a little bit about Rodrigo Muniz as well?
Well, we can, but let me just give my lament here.
Cool.
I understand he's going to go to Napoli. I get it. But I wanted Milinkovic-Savic so bad.
You wanted him so bad because he just reminded you of some sort of like war.
Yeah, because he looks like Sagat and Zangief from Street Fighter had a baby. He looks like the Mountain on Game of Thrones.
He does look like the Mountain, yeah.
And like, honestly, and have you seen those footage of him like taunting other players?
It's terrifying.
like literally, it looks like I
think
Troy, the giant in Troy in the beginning of the film. It looks like that guy. I'd be horrified to try to go into the box on that dude.
I think the reason I'd have put like 30 million quid down was just for that free kick that he took from 30 yards that hit the crossbar. I was like, that is so impressive.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cannoned off the crossbar.
Yeah. Listen, so I'm sad that he probably won't be coming to Leeds. Perry is a very good goalkeeper, although I worry that coming to Leeds will result in people like taking Nando's sauces to matches and like just because we all love a pun apparently. No, he'd be an excellent choice. I would love a Brazilian contingent at Leeds. I would love that.
Oh, Perry,
the goalkeeper,
Perry, Paixao, Muniz. That'd be nice.
And Muniz. Yeah. Muniz. I would love to see. We can move to Muniz now. I know you want to talk about him. God, like I would pay upward to 40.
Dude, this man he's been my number one from the start.
He's so good. He's so good. And like,
it's good.
He does seem to be annoyed with Fulham as well.
Yeah, I think he scored yesterday, didn't he? And he put something out on social media like, "Good to be back. I'm going to be scoring like much more goals" or something like that. And it was like, well, maybe that's cryptic. Well, let's hope it is anyway.
Here's what I will say though: if we manage to sign Paixao, I could see Muniz making the move, pushing for the move.
Yeah, I could
because
dominoes.
100% dominoes. I don't remember who was talking about this, but some sports journalist was talking about this. Players want to play with other good players, and bringing in a guy like Biol first, Stock coming in is a big deal. Like these guys will know who he is. Bring in a Paixao, and it's just a different scenario. And I've heard you talk this week, Connor. I don't think it's that unrealistic to think that we could compete for a potential mid-table position with a team like that, provided things go our way, guys don't get injured. The midfield will be really good. That would be an elite attacking contingent as well. Not like elite of elite, but like a very good for the Premier League. You could see us be in a position of like a Fulham, where Brentford was. Like Brentford have lost a ton of players. West Ham are losing chips as well, and they're coached by an absolute dud. I just think there are a number of teams that are vulnerable this season, And we
I
could
mean,
be
even
we could be the surprise team of the year if it wouldn't be a surprise if we sign these guys, but
but we're
these
all
are the
talk, we're,
kinds of signings you want.
but we're all talking about, like, obviously, I actually think Wolves will do quite well this season. I think Wolves will be fine, but I kind of look at West Ham, you can look at Brentford, and they've got big money that have just come in. Vissa goes again. They're going to bring in another 50 million quid. They brought in money for Norgard and then Buemo as well. So they've got big money. We know Brentford distribute the money pretty
Everton
well.
haven't really improved. People are just assuming that they'll continue to go from strength to strength because Moyes is back. But the reality is, if he doesn't get backed, you don't know what's going to happen.
And it's also, but it's also the two, the two that have the two that obviously did remarkably well last year. When you look at Palace,
Mhm.
and when you look at Nottingham Forest in particular, they're going to be stretched next season, really stretched when it comes
Yep.
to certain competitions. So they're going to be ones to keep an eye on as well. But yeah, you are right. I mean,
Manchester United might be really bad.
they were crap. I thought they
Like
were
like
really
we
poor
again,
yesterday.
I can't say that I don't care about preseason and then go in on Manchester United, but I have to be honest. I mean, there's
Yeah,
just something rotten that stinks about that club right now. You can smell it through the television,
yeah.
and it just
It
there's
was
decay all over them.
it was quite nice to see them not, like, obviously, because I think the last five results have been two. Thing I said it to you, didn't I? Like 2-2, 4-2, 5-1, 6-2, 4-0. It was nice yesterday to not
Yeah.
concede like beyond two goals to them and
Yeah.
just get battered. So
We
that was
have to be
quite
the
nice.
club, Connor, that does stuff that a club in our station, so called, isn't supposed to do.
Yeah.
We have to get some results next season that aren't predicted.
Mm.
We have to sign some players that people think are out of our league. And I don't think they're out of our league at all. We have the financial backing. We have a new stadium plan. We have players coming in that are really good players. We pointed it out. Beal and Stack, like, would you have said before we got promoted that, hey, we're going to go get those two players early in the window and have spent less than 50 million quid to do so? I would have
Stack's
said no.
Stack's really surprising. I'm really surprised at that one.
For that fee, too, like, listen, I haven't been one of those folks that really digs out the recruitment team, but I'm not going to do it now. I don't know how they've secured him for that fee. And for anybody about to say was, oh, if big clubs wanted him, he would have gone to them. Not true at all. Players make decisions based on all kinds of factors,
Of course they
where
do.
their families are at, how they think they adapt, what all sorts of stuff. And when they're ready to make a move, big clubs have been looking at stock for a long time.
They have. They have.
Really, really good clubs, and
Mm.
it's not hyperbole about how good this guy is. Beal as well. Other big clubs we're looking at, but there is something about Leeds United, a club with a storied history that we have. That's also an underdog story now. It's a reclamation story. It is yeah, you don't want to piss off this fan base. That can turn bad for you. But in terms of
Jack Harrison.
yeah, but if you come here, you do a good job, and
Yeah.
you really work hard for the shirt. You don't even have to be that great.
No.
But if you are great and you do work hard, you are going to be immortalized in this club like few other clubs in the world. So for a certain type of guy, that's appealing. So if you don't care, if you're just about your wage and quality of life and weather and want to play and you don't really want to work hard and train, you kind of just want to skate through. If you got that Luis Sinistera mindset, then I get it. There's going to be a lot of other clubs you can go to. It could be like a wage race.
Paixao's
But for
better than
some
it.
guy,
Paixao's better than him too, by the way.
yeah, no, I agree.
It's
I
better
agree.
than Sinistera.
But I don't know anything about Paixao as a guy, as a person. I
Yeah.
have no idea.
Yeah. We just know he's a good footballer.
But you do know about Anton Stock a little bit, and he decided to stay at Hoffenheim when he could have left, mainly because he didn't think he was ready to leave.
Mm.
So like if he's chosen Leeds United as a project, he's chosen it intentionally, and I love that. I love that. So I don't see why we can't build something special here. Does it mean we're qualifying for Europa League? No. I'm just saying that all it takes is a couple good elements and a couple lucky turns.
You need to build something special. You need to
do.
build something extremely different to stay up. You have to. And I guess if you bring up, if you bring in, let's say, hypothetically, you bring in your Rodrigo Muniz or, let's say your Paixao or someone of equivalent level or maybe just below. You bring in Anton Stack, you bring in good fullback cover, maybe a number 10, and you're giving yourself probably the best chance out the bottoms, the six that have gone down. That recruitment will be better than anything they put together. It will just be in terms of profiles. Like Burnley, I thought they recruited very young. and for a certain style of play. Even though they brought in a lot of quality players, I don't think it works. There wasn't enough athleticism, height, physicality. They played a certain way. Same with Southampton, and
Mhm.
quality in abundance as well. Just not enough technical ability. Sheffield United, nowhere near good enough. Luton played a real good physical way and were unlucky, but they didn't have enough technical players to help Ross Barkley. There's context with a lot of them. If we go, and you have to say with Sunderland as well, if Sunderland go about it in the way that they're going about it, they're going to, accrue a real good host of players like Leeds United. So I
They
think
are.
we
They're doing
will.
more of a high risk, high potential reward.
Yeah, yeah, they are.
But I think they don't know how low the floor is for some of these guys. Like we've reached the floor. Listen, DR is a tremendous signing. I don't want to be silly about that. He's a tremendous signing. Playing for a relegation threatened team is a different thing, and some of the other pieces they've been looking to add, I worry about the youth and inexperience and the grit. If I was them, that being said, that they've clearly done their homework in recruiting, and they feel like this is the type of player they need to
Yeah.
turn some heads. And they've also taken the road of maybe we have to do some things different, or else we're going to go right back down. So I can respect that. Burnley, I think, are going to stink this season. And then there's a bunch of other teams huddling around in like the bottom half of the table that I think are easily a couple injuries from trouble, right? So, or a couple lack of like Brentford. I mean, I got to be honest, man. Like, I'm not sure where. I guess they're going to have some money freed up, but they don't have a lot of money as a club. So I wonder where that money is going to go.
I'm quite cautious. I'm quite
Yeah,
cautious
you
to
have to be.
to make an opinion on Brentford because of just how good their recruitment has
Yeah,
been. I'm
but they
always
are
very.
losing Thomas Frank, and for me, I'm just sort of like, okay, we'll see what this club is really made of. By the way, can we just address something in the comments?
Yep.
Elon Melier. Don't ever want to see him play for us again in a real match. Don't care if it's preseason, but
I
I've
like how
seen some questions.
you move the goalposts with Melee, but not with Harrison. I love that.
Well, because people are asking the question: has he done enough for a redemption arc, or does having these tall defenders and midfielders now make the risk a little bit lower? Elon Melier stinks. He's not a good goalkeeper. He doesn't need to be in the Leeds United team. So I'm not looking for any scenario to include him. That's it. Like
Yeah.
I understand the questions. They're all hypotheticals. I'm sure they're for a bit of fun, but you've triggered me now.
Yeah, no, Kirsch as well says he's a big fan of the channel as well. Shout out to you, Kirsch. I was surprised that it disagrees with me quite a lot, which I know a lot of people do. I was surprised about your comments on Byram yesterday. Defended really well, didn't make any mistake. Ahmad didn't beat him once. It wasn't about Ahmad beating him directly, mate. It was more about him being drawn to Ahmad and Ahmad just looking at Casemiro on the overlap. Gruev not checking him a couple of times and Casemiro just getting in that channel. But yeah,
I think you're afraid that if you compliment any of these players you don't like, it'll go out in the air and Farka will hear it and be like, I must play them more.
Yeah.
That's what I think happens with you.
Yeah. I think a lot of it, Kirsch, as well, is that when we're speaking about Byram yesterday, there was no real commentary on his defending. It was more on. I mean, he was square a few times up against Ahmad. I think Jack Harrison was as well. But the whole conversation about Byram yesterday was what we always talk about, mate. It's build up. It's build up, and we will struggle with Sam Byram in build up if we have to rely on him on that left hand side.
We're not going to have to rely on him. We signed a left back.
Well, we will. We will if Goodmanson gets injured because he's left back cover. So
Aren't you superstitious?
I'm just saying it's an option, isn't it?
Aren't you a superstitious guy? He's just put that out into the ether, guys.
I'm not superstitious.
Mm,
I'm not.
Are you
I'm
not?
not. No, not really. Not really. No, don't have time.
He's
for
a little
superstition.
stitious.
I don't have time for superstition.
Connor's a little stitious, guys.
Finally got Hardline live. Great work, guys. Keep it up. Yeah, getting a lot of good comments in here, mate. Guys. Thank you so much. Let's have a look. Byron played well. He's not going to get much game time in the Prem. 1 year deal means we can wait a year before replacing him. Yeah, I think it's just about getting cover, mate. Fullback cover. That's where I'm just happy with, to be honest with you. Just someone who is a little bit better than in build up. There's a lot of teams who've gotten weak so far in the window, and there's 9 teams in Europe who will drop points here and there. Could be a mad season. Could be indeed. Lewis Hendo says we need a winger, 10, 9, a fullback who can play both left and right, plus a goalkeeper. Yep, I think, yeah, I completely agree with that.
If reports are to be believed, we have about 100 million left to spend. So
Yeah. Tommy K, who is a Forest fan, who's in here consistently talking about the mighty Leeds and how much he loves us. Leeds
Attaboy,
still
Tommy K.
bottom 3, but will revalue when window shuts. I am pretty sure, Tommy, you'll be coming back in here saying that we're probably going to finish bottom, mate, because of some Nottingham Forest hatred. We actually do have a lot of Nottingham Forest fans in here who just actually enjoy the streams. I think Nick's one of them here as well. We've got a few others, NFFC20. So,
Tommy, does Tommy actually live in Nottingham?
Tommy, there you go. You'll have to let us know.
If you do, mate, I mean, you know the definition of long suffering. So we do have a difficult time in front of us, but so I suppose we can defer to you and your wisdom on how to get out of a tight situation. My God, what a horrible place to have to live.
There might be some. I've told you, you've got to stop with this. I mean, this is why we crystallize Gabe. We have him on once a week, so we can just keep him. We can keep him in the dungeon, keep him in the one lead cellar, so he doesn't come out and say all these things.
Listen,
Hello.
I love teams. I love cities that maybe aren't always pleasant. You know my affinity for Grimsby.
100%. Yes, Kirsch, top man. Tommy's from Leicestershire. Okay. Is Paphos FC says, hello all. Should have finished it yesterday. We deserved a win. Yeah, we were decent yesterday. Decent. So some of the friendly fixtures were quite funny. I think Villa lost 3-0 to Holston Kiel, and then Celtic beat Newcastle 4-0. But we've just got to be careful. Like Gabe says, you've got to be careful with friendlies because they
mean nothing.
Yeah, they're not going to be the measure on how we're going to do this season. Okay, mate. Anything else you'd like to carry on talking about?
Let me see here. No. I think we've covered it pretty well. Let's before we go though, let's talk a bit more about your Oasis concert experience and your extracurricular activities because you've been on the move this summer. You've been going to weddings in Italy. You've been going to random. Didn't you go to Lisbon at one point as well?
Porto. Yeah.
Porto. Excuse me. Yeah. So what's next on the Connor and his Mrs. Travel Europe docket?
It's not her. We have a Irish trip. Obviously, Leeds playing AC Milan, so we're heading over there for a night. So that should be good, to Dublin, which I've been to Dublin now, I think 3 times in the last 6 months. So that should be interesting. Should be meeting a few people out there. It's a shame
you introduce yourself as Connor McGilligan when you get there, or is it just Connor?
Just say McGilligan, and then they go, "Oh, you're Irish."
yeah, that's it. You introduce yourself as McGilligan. Truly fitting in.
Truly Irish, yeah. But I'm not like a lot of you guys. I mean, Americans in the chat as well. What I find very confusing about Americans is like, let's say they've got Scottish heritage. They'll go up to like, I've had this before in America as well, and they go, I'm Scottish. It's like, no, you're not. You're not Scottish.
Oh, no, you know what?
You are American.
I'm going to agree with you 100% on this. Most of the time, I find your cultural approximations of Americans to be nonsensical. But in this case, you are 100% right. On St. Patrick's Day, in some of the smartest areas in the country, all of a sudden, these numbskulls just stop, and out of the woodwork, they're like, "We're all Irish today," and they're not. They're not Irish. They're like, and basically, they'll be pulling out this family tree where they had like some Irish like relative on the Titanic survive, and somehow that means that like that they are full-blooded. It's ridiculous. It's so stupid.
I love Jason Lee's just said, I live in Nottingham. It's a shit.
But you have got that really nice statue of Robin Hood, though. Which
I
appreciate that.
Kershaw's also said, Gabe reminds me of one of those toys. You wind the key up and let him go. Love his passion. Love the show. Yeah, you can get to Gabe a little bit.
It's a chaos agency thing. Kershaw. By the way, Kershaw was on one about Paixao. I was like, mate.
Kirsch has made a name for himself over the summer transfer window.
People in Marseille probably have their backs up a little bit now.
Yeah, he's everywhere. Bjorn Marius Nedribo says, "Where in Italy did you go, Connor?" Had a girlfriend from Firenze, Florence. Yes, mate. We went to Florence for my mother and father's 60th birthday. So yeah, I went out there.
Oh, I do have an announcement to make to everybody here. So I will be in the UK for the Leeds United Bournemouth match on the 27th of September. So Connor, what we're going to have to do is host some kind of a pub meetup, either near the ground or something like that.
Yep.
So we'll give you all more insight into that. I've also more recently, over the past year or so, gotten into rugby. So is it possible? Is it a different time of year where Leeds Rhinos play?
No, no, you should be spot on. Yeah, you should be spot on, I think. Yeah.
You hear how he said that? You should be spot on. He's not interested in going. Well, why wouldn't you go?
It's not really my game. I don't mind it, but it's not really my game, to be honest
I
with you.
watched the U.S. women beat Fiji the other day. Once
What's
again, the U.S. women are better than the men at any sport that matters.
That's pretty
I
impressive,
don't know why. I don't know why it is, but like football, U.S. women way better. Rugby, U.S. women way better. Why
Yeah.
can't the men get it together in sports that matter? We just have to create our own sports. Say we're better than you.
The best thing with Americans is when they've got the obviously it's the NFL and they call themselves the world
The
champions.
world champions? Oh yeah, yeah. At least baseball, they play other
Yeah.
in other areas, but like
Yeah.
those teams don't get to compete in the World
No.
Series. So I'm not sure why they call it the World Series. And I think the only consolation I would say is for the NBA. You probably could say it because it is any NBA team would wax the best European team. But that being said, it is a stupid thing that we do.
Yeah.
And it's not even and the song we play at the end of it. It's a British song as well. It's "We Are the Champions" by Queen. So it's not even like a true Americana. I don't get it either, guys. I don't understand. There are so many things about my country that I think are all right, and some of them I think are just boneheaded and stupid.
Yeah.
So I make fun of my own places too, not just yours.
Gay's been line dancing with that neckerchief, cowboy boots on for
What's he
sure.
say?
Boot scooting. My name Jeff says Gay's been line dancing with that neckerchief, cowboy boots on for sure. Boot and
This is
scooting.
more of a am I a Tory or not or am I not a Tory?
You could not wear that over here. No way.
Yeah.
You couldn't wear that.
In a smoking room, I could. At the Milk Thistle in Bristol, the private cocktail bar, I could wear it.
The Milk Thistle.
It's like a leather room.
Right.
They've got what is it? Taxidermy all over the walls as well.
Gimps.
You had to, I'm not sure if it's still, this is pre-COVID, but you had to knock on a certain door.
Whips,
I love that
chains,
place.
gimps.
No. It's not like Berlin leather club. It's like a
Berlin.
it's like a lunch club leather club.
Berlin is a freaky place. Stig says
Things I've seen in Berlin.
Go and get a Bubakar Sedi Kinter from Tromsø. He's an absolute busy. Stig's always in here with the Norwegian recommendations, and I promise he'll go for big money in some years. Just remember the name. Well, it's not a name that you'd forget, Stig. So no, definitely not, mate. Okay. Remy says, Gabe, did you watch USA get hammered by England Saturday?
That's the men's rugby. No, I did not. Okay. And I'm sure it was an absolute shellacking. England are amongst the best teams in the world, and the US men are gash.
Connor, get him down to head and leave. No, we will. We're going to get some plans in motion with that. We've got kind of a date now as well, which is good. So you never know. You might even get Gabe meeting Brownie. Who knows? Wow.
I decided to not go with my usual airline, and I booked British Airlines this time, just to fully immersify myself in the British experience this time.
Yeah.
They have lie-down beds on those flights.
Yeah, they do. They do indeed. Joel says, when's Brownie on Connor? Yeah, he's back on Tuesdays, mate. So Brownie's going to be back on Tuesdays throughout the season. So there you go. If any of you are interested, which I'm sure you will be. Gabe looks like he's from Scooby-Doo. Yeah, I get that vibe as well.
Fred.
Right. Okay.
And as long as it's not Shaggy, I'm fine with that.
Yeah, it definitely is.
Fred always took, was it Velma or Daphne?
Fred
off on some side mission you never saw.
Fred would wear that thing on his neck as well.
Yeah, Fred was like, "Oh, I'm gonna take. Was it who was the red-haired one?
It was Daphne.
Is that Daphne?
Wasn't it?
Yeah,
Daphne,
he was always going off on these side missions with Daphne, and you never saw what they were doing.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, you didn't actually, did you? Velma just by herself, bless her. British Airways, Gabe. Matthew says British Airways is the same company as American Airlines. Hey, my dad works for BA. Don't really know what's going on. We don't really know what's going on here. Right, we will leave it there, everybody. Make sure you are slapping a like. We'll see you next Sunday, of course, with the Sunday supplement, the Hardline. It's been an absolute pleasure, and we will see you